Hi. In this video, I'll show you how to use the natural selection simulation. We'll go step by step. You can pause this video at any time. If you get lost, you can come back and watch again. Go to the natural selection simulation at phet.colorado.edu/en/simulation/natural-selection. Click the play button. Click intro. Your screen should now look like this. Let's take a moment to look around. Let me show you the main parts of the simulation. In the top middle of the simulation screen, you'll see the timer. This shows how many days have passed. In the top right corner are the environment controls. The sun button creates a desert environment. The snowflake button creates an Arctic environment. At the very bottom are the time controls. The pause button stops time. The fast-forward button speeds up time. On the top right side is the panel for mutation and environment controls. This is where you can add mutations and environmental factors. At the bottom of the screen is the population graph. This tracks how many rabbits exist over time. Now that you know how the simulation works, let's start exploring natural selection. Question 1. How many rabbits are there at day 0? Pause this video and look at your own simulation screen. Count the white rabbits you see on the desert landscape. You should have counted 1 rabbit at the start. If you see a different number, click the reset button and check again. Now let's move on to question 2. Question 2. Click Add a Mate and wait 2 generations, then pause. How many rabbits are there now? Here's what you're going to do in your simulation. First, click the yellow Add a Mate button in the center of your screen. Next, watch the timer at the top. Wait until it shows generation 2. That's 2 generations from the start. If you want to speed things up, you can click the fast forward button next to the pause button. When the timer reaches generation 2, click the pause button. Now we need to check the population. Look at the graph at the bottom left. Find the checkbox that says Data Probe and click it to turn it on. You'll see a gray vertical line appear on your graph. Click and drag this line until it's at generation 2. A black box will appear showing the exact population number at that generation. Pause this video now and try this yourself. Press play when you've checked your population number. Good. You should see 18 rabbits at generation 2. If you see a different number, go back and make sure you started with 1 rabbit and added a mate at generation 0. The population grew from 1 rabbit to 18 rabbits in just 2 generations. This shows how quickly populations can increase when conditions are right. Now let's add some variation to our rabbits. Question 3. Add a dominant or recessive trait for the rabbits. Now we're going to add a mutation that changes fur color. Look at the right panel where it says Add Mutation. Under Fur, you'll see 2 options, dominant and recessive. For this demo, I'm going to click Dominant. Look at the checkboxes on the left side of the graph. Total, white fur, and brown fur are all now checked. The graph now shows 3 lines, a black line for total population, a solid teal line for white fur, and a dotted teal line for brown fur. Look at your rabbits on the screen. You should now see both brown rabbits and white rabbits in your population. The mutation created variation in fur color. Pause this video now and try it yourself. If you success, come back and press play to continue. Good. Now you should see both brown rabbits and white rabbits in your population, and your graph is tracking both colors separately. This variation in fur color is what natural selection will act on. Let's see how the population changes over the next 2 generations. Question 4. Wait 2 more generations. Let's see how many of each color rabbit we have now. The mutation we just added will start showing up in the next generation. In your simulation, click the play button to unpause time. You can use the fast forward button to speed things up. Watch the timer until it reaches generation 4. That's 2 more generations from generation 2 when the mutation starts. When you reach generation 4, click pause. Now let's check the populations. Your data probe should still be turned on from before. If it's not on, click the data probe checkbox to turn it on. Drag the vertical line to generation 4. Look at the black box that appears. You'll see 3 numbers stacked on top of each other. The top number shows the total population, all rabbits together. The middle number shows white fur rabbits. The bottom number shows brown fur rabbits. Pause this video and try this now. Check what numbers you see at generation 4, then press play. Welcome back! You should see around 162 total rabbits at generation 4. That's 147 white fur rabbits and 15 brown fur rabbits. Notice that white rabbits far outnumber brown rabbits. White rabbit numbers are nearly 10 times greater than brown rabbits. Both colors are reproducing, but the population is mostly white right now. This might change when we add wolves. Let's see what happens to these two populations when predators arrive. Question 5. Select the wolves button and wait 3 generations. Let's see how many of each color rabbit we have now. Now we're going to add predators to see what happens to our 2 rabbit populations. Look at the environmental factors panel on the right side. You'll see a checkbox next to wolves. Click the wolves checkbox to turn it on. Watch what happens. Wolves will appear and start hunting the rabbits. Watch the timer until it reaches generation 7. That's 3 more generations from where we paused at generation 4. When you reach generation 7, click pause. Use your data probe and drag the vertical line to generation 7. Look at the 3 numbers in the black box. Pay special attention to the white fur and brown fur populations. Pause this video and try this now. Press play when you've looked at your generation 7 numbers. Welcome back. At generation 7, you should see around 86 total rabbits. But look at the breakdown. Only 7 white fur rabbits and 79 brown fur rabbits. This is a huge change. Remember at generation 4, before we added wolves, you had 147 white rabbits and only 15 brown rabbits. The population was mostly white. Now at generation 7, after wolves hunted for 3 generations, the population is mostly brown. There are almost no white rabbits left. Question 6. Which type of rabbit was most harmed by the presence of wolves? Why do you think this is? Look at your screen. You can see the answer. The white rabbits were most harmed. Their population dropped from 147 down to just 7. That's a huge loss. The brown rabbits actually increased from 15 to 79. Why did this happen? Think about the environment. We're in a brown desert with green bushes. Which color rabbit is easier for a wolf to spot? The bright white rabbits stand out against the brown ground. They're very easy to see. The brown rabbits blend in with the brown desert. They have camouflage. When wolves are hunting, it's much harder to spot the brown rabbits. This is natural selection in action. The rabbits with the trait that helps them survive, brown fur for camouflage, have a much better chance of living and reproducing. The rabbits with the trait that makes them easier to catch, white fur that stands out, get eaten more often. Over time, the population shifts toward having more brown rabbits because they survive better in this environment with this predator. Let's see what happens when we change the environmental factor. Question 7. Unselect the wolves. Select the limited food button. Wait 2 generations. How many of each kind of rabbit are there now? Now we're going to test a different kind of challenge for our rabbit population. Look at the environmental factors panel. Uncheck the wolves box to turn wolves off. Now check the limited food box. This changes the challenge from predators to food scarcity. Let's see what happens. Click the play button to unpause time. Use the fast forward button to speed things up. Watch the timer until it reaches generation 9. That's 2 more generations from where we paused at generation 7. When you reach generation 9, click pause. Look at the 3 population numbers in the black box. Pause this video and try this now. Press play when you've looked at your generation 9 numbers. Welcome back. At generation 9, you should see around 99 total rabbits. That's around 11 white fur rabbits and around 88 brown fur rabbits. Both populations grew. The white rabbits went from 7 up to 11. The brown rabbits went from 79 up to 88. Now let's move on. Question 8. How were the rabbit populations affected by the limited food resource? Does the color of the rabbit's fur have any advantage in this situation? Look at what happened. When we had wolves as the limiting factor, white rabbits nearly disappeared. They dropped from 147 down to just 7. But with limited food as the limiting factor, both white and brown rabbits grew again. White rabbits increased from 7 to 11. Brown rabbits increased from 79 to 88. So does fur color give an advantage when food is scarce? No. Fur color doesn't help you find food. With wolves, brown fur was a huge advantage because it provided camouflage. Brown rabbits could hide and survive. But with limited food, both white and brown rabbits face the same challenge. Neither color helps them find food better. Both populations are growing, but more slowly than they would with unlimited food. The brown population is still larger because there were more brown rabbits to start with after the wolves ate most of the white ones. This shows us something important. A trait that helps with one challenge doesn't necessarily help with a different challenge. Brown fur helps you hide from predators, but brown fur doesn't help you find food. Now let's see what happens when we change the environment completely. Question 9. Unselect the limited food. Select the snowflake in the upper right corner and the wolves button. Wait 3 generations. How many of each kind of rabbit are there now? First, make sure limited food is unchecked. Now look at the upper right corner of the screen. You'll see 2 environment buttons, a sun and a snowflake. Click the snowflake button to change the environment to Arctic. Watch what happens. The brown desert changes to white snowy ground. This is a completely different environment. Now check the wolves box in the Environmental Factors panel. The wolves are back, but now they're hunting in snow instead of desert. Click play to unpause time. Use fast forward to speed things up. Watch the timer until it reaches generation 12. That's 3 more generations from generation 9. When you reach generation 12, click pause. Use your data probe and drag the vertical line to generation 12. Look at the population numbers for white and brown rabbits. Pause this video and try this now. Press play when you've looked at your generation 12 numbers. Welcome back. At generation 12, you should see around 262 total rabbits. Look at the breakdown. 261 white fur rabbits and only 1 brown fur rabbit. This is the complete opposite of what happened in the desert. Let's compare. In the desert environment with wolves at generation 7, you had 7 white rabbits and 79 brown rabbits. The white rabbits were nearly wiped out. Now in the Arctic environment with wolves at generation 12, you have 262 white rabbits and only 1 brown rabbit. The brown rabbits are nearly wiped out. Question 10. Which type of rabbit was most harmed by the presence of wolves? Why do you think this is? Look at your screen. The brown rabbits were most harmed this time. Their population dropped from many rabbits down to just 1. The white rabbits thrived. Their population is huge. Why did this happen? Think about the environment. Now we're in the Arctic with white snow on the ground. Which color rabbit is easier for wolves to spot now? The brown rabbits stand out against the white snow. They're very easy to see. The white rabbits blend in perfectly with the snow. They have camouflage in this environment. When wolves are hunting, it's much harder to spot white rabbits against white snow. This is the key lesson. The same trait, fur color, can be an advantage in one environment and a disadvantage in another environment. In the brown desert, brown fur was the advantage. Brown rabbits could hide. In the white Arctic, white fur is the advantage. White rabbits can hide. The environment determines which traits help survival. This is how natural selection works. Traits that match the environment get passed on because those individuals survive and reproduce. Question 11. Did the change in environment change which traits are considered to be an advantage? Think about everything you've observed in this simulation. In the desert environment with wolves, which fur color helped rabbits survive better? In the Arctic environment with wolves, which fur color helped rabbits survive better? Pause and think about your answer. Welcome back. The answer is yes. The change in environment absolutely changed which trait was advantageous. Brown fur was an advantage in the desert, white fur was an advantage in the Arctic. The trait itself, fur color, stayed the same. But whether that trait helped or hurt survival completely depended on the environment. This is a fundamental principle of natural selection. There's no such thing as a trait that's always good or always bad. It depends on the environment where the organism lives. Question 12. What would you expect to happen if the environment changed back to the original desert environment? Think about this carefully. Right now in the Arctic, you have mostly white rabbits and almost no brown rabbits. If we switched back to the desert, what would happen? Take some time to think about these questions and test your ideas in the simulation if you want to explore more. Great work completing this activity. You've seen natural selection in action.